What is up, our money in boss trucking gang? We are back with another video. Tonight we will be talking about running with the 16-foot box truck. We do have the whole crew with us tonight. I am Eb.
It's Nico.
IMB. Hey
Yes.
y'all.
And we're gonna give y'all a lot of information about the 16-foot box truck tonight. This will be part one. We will do another part. Um, just going over a lot of information as far as if you want to run with the box truck. Do you think it's a good idea to run with the box truck? Um, we'll give you our outlook on that tonight. Um, so how we started off with a 16-foot box truck. We did rent it, the Enterprise. That was our very first truck. We was actually looking for a 26-foot box truck, and we had been waiting on the waiting list for about 2 or 3 weeks, and they didn't come up with the 26-foot box truck. So we let them know that we'll go ahead and take the 16-foot box truck, because that's the only thing that they did have available at the time. We did have to start a commercial account with Enterprise. We was calling and we was getting a lot of run around to the point where we couldn't get people on the phone. They were saying they didn't have anything. Um, just stating that we couldn't do a commercial account unless we was actually getting inside a vehicle. So we actually went in. Once we went in, it was totally different. We was able to go ahead and submit our information, which we had to submit proof of insurance. We had to submit our MC, verifying that we was eligible, the MC verification form. We also had to submit the paperwork for our EIN number showing that we was a business. So once we got that submitted, we went through the whole process of doing the application. It really wasn't an application. I don't know if our agent filled everything out for us. But once we sent that information over, we went over the numbers as far as how many miles we was gonna be driving each week. And they still didn't give us a price and on how much it was gonna be until they actually had the truck in hand. Then once they had the truck in hand, they went over that we'll be paying $605 each week, 18 cents a mile. Um, so we end up getting that box truck. And Bia tell you as far as the first load that we ever got with the 16-foot box truck.
Hello?
Yeah, but Cole, Nico, you wanna go ahead and let them know how that first trip was when we went active and we tried to get a load the next day after we got the truck.
Yeah, when the first load we got, we had took the load. I think we was a little bit excited or whatever. And we got there to pick the load up, and since we was in a 16-foot box truck, when we got there the dimensions wasn't right. The load was too big to put in the 16-foot box truck. So we had to go so we went to a little convenience store parking lot, and we sat there until we tried to figure out what we was gonna do as far as trying to get another load. And that first load, that was one that we had actually dispatched ourselves.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
with
leave out
that load,
anything?
it was and I actually got that load. So it was me, all three of us was actually working on loads, as far as dispatching the loads. And I actually called in for that load. And the only thing that he told me was he was like, I think it was going for 3,200, and it was going from Greenwood, South Carolina, going to somewhere in Ohio. And he was like, it's only gonna take up a corner of your truck. It's not very big. I was like, oh, okay, so cool. So when he said the corner of the truck, I just figured, hey, it's gonna fit in a 16-foot box truck. Um, so let me one moment.
So when we got there, when we picked it up, it was these little small, skinny poles, and they was like, I can't remember how long it was, but they was too long to go inside the 16-foot box truck. So one of the things that you have to make sure is that you pay attention to details and stuff like that when it comes to looking at the load. Is it's important to make sure you look at the size and all the dimensions and all that good stuff. Whether
Yeah, most definitely. Get dimensions. Make sure you ask it. Know your dimensions of your truck. Because our trucks are not the same size. Even though we had a 16-foot, our 16-foot dimensions would be maybe different from someone else's 16-foot dimensions. So make sure you know the dimensions, and when you call it and asking about the load, make sure you get the dimensions for those loads to make sure it can fit on that truck. Um, After that incident, um we didn't really have problems with we didn't really have problems with we didn't really have problems with getting as far as not remembering to ask for dimensions. Not really. I mean, we did, but we didn't. Not in that sense. Um, so after that load, we was maybe 2 hours away from home. So we went and we sat trying to find loads. Um, so at this time, the only load board that we was using was a load board called Dog, and we couldn't find any loads. So we went to the store. We ended up calling the dispatcher, trying to get a dispatcher. So we ended up finding this guy. I think made a post on Facebook, and this guy hit me up. Um, and he was like he could get us a load. We would have to deadhead all the way to Rakia, which was maybe like 4 hours away. This load was for to be picked up the next day. It was like from Rock Hill going to somewhere in North Carolina for $200. And we was like, nah, we can't do that. We're not gonna deadhead 2 hours away to pick up a load and then drive. I mean, it wasn't any sense. So he he didn't contact us back. So we ended up contacting another dispatcher. After we contacted that dispatcher, um, we end up contacting another dispatcher. He seemed like he was pretty good. He knew what he was doing. He was actually a company. He was a legit company. He had maybe 5 people on his team. Um, so we ended up coming home that night, and the
boy,
next day we couldn't find no load. He couldn't find no loads for us. We couldn't find no loads. So it was the next day. He couldn't find no loads. We couldn't find no loads. So we were just sitting. So the next day came in. He couldn't find no loads. We couldn't find no loads. So we were just sitting. So the next day came in, which would have been a third day. He ended up finding us a load going from Newberry, South Carolina, going to was it Savannah, Georgia?
no, what is it making?
Macon, Georgia, yeah, from Newberry, South Carolina, going to Macon, Georgia, but it was only paying $250. But after sitting those 3 days, we was like, we know we got to get up and move. Like it wasn't, we couldn't sit another day in where it was just dead. So we ended up moving, going to Newberry, South Carolina, getting that load to Macon. Once we got to Macon,
Hmm?
the dispatcher that we was using, he couldn't get us up out of Macon. Like he couldn't get us out of Georgia.
Period.
So, um, you want to tell them what happened after that?
So we got a little irritated and we just started digging and we started looking for a different dispatcher. And when we came across another company that was actually located where we was at, um, and we started working with them. I mean, well, we got all the stuff, the information exchange and all that good stuff, and they had us a load within maybe an hour or two up out of Georgia. And I can't remember where they had us going.
We went to Oklahoma. It
Yeah.
was for
Oh
3,100.
yeah. Yeah. Oklahoma. That's right.
Yeah, they got us a load for 3,100 coming out of Macon, Georgia, going to Oklahoma. Um, and the good thing with the 16-foot box truck, we didn't have to stop at any way stations, but we did. We didn't have to do any inspections, but we never went through an inspection with the 16-foot box truck,
We
and we
stopped
did.
at all weight stations and everything we were supposed to do. We stopped at all of
Yeah, we did stop at all of them, but we
them.
later found out with the 16-foot box truck we didn't have to stop at any way station because they are considered to be like cargo vans. But we did stop at all the way stations. We also could team drive with the 16-foot box truck, so we was able to run, not having to do the reset, um, which was good. But once we got to Oklahoma, we were stuck. We were stuck in Oklahoma. Um, we were stuck for maybe 2 days. We
Yeah.
was in Oklahoma for 2 days. So I would definitely say that is the thing with the 16-foot box truck. It's a lot of sitting and waiting, trying to get cargo van loads. And then we was a new authority. Um,
Hmm.
so that was another that played a major part in it as well. We was a new authority and we was in a 16-foot box truck.
Yeah. But it is a way to work that 16-foot box truck.
Yeah. So B, what did you learn as far as dispatching the 16-foot box truck?
Oh my God. But 16 feet box truck was a task. Um, it's definitely ways to work it. It has its outs as well. When we first started with the 16 feet, I was the plans were for me to dispatch and for them to run. So during this time when they was waiting, and they was working with a dispatcher, and also I was working with trying to get loads as well. So it was just imagine when we got a 16 feet truck and they working on the road, well sitting while they're on the road. We working with the dispatcher and also I'm working trying to find loads on the off of a load board. Like I said, it's out, but once we did get on the road, um, it was ways around it. So I don't think it was all bad. But it's definitely some things to consider if you are just wanting to do as far as 16 feet. It's definitely something to consider. I mean, it was a learning lesson. It was definitely great for, beginning. Not too great because we were, under new authority, but it definitely had its ins and outs with it. And the great good thing about it is y'all were able to run. It wasn't that y'all had to stop. Um, you're able just to hit the road and go.
Yeah, that was my favorite part where we didn't have to do no reset or we didn't have to sit the 10 hour. I mean, after 11 hours, we didn't have to sit those 10 hours. We didn't have to do the 34-hour reset. So it went well. We did gross. We did gross 21,000 that first month running with the 16-foot box truck, which is awesome for us to be a new authority and we run with a 16-foot box truck. That first week, we didn't get the weekly rate. We didn't get what we made weekly because everything was everywhere. We were just starting up. We didn't have any. everything was done off our employee checks. So we was working 9 to 5. So it was kind of crazy to the point where we couldn't really get the weekly, but we know we grossed monthly to 21,000, which was awesome. Um, but yeah, and one thing that we did find out today. I know we had questions. Oh yeah, we had questions about the Amazon relay. Are you would you be able to do it without a lift gate with the Amazon relay? Um, B, do you want to go over that? So running with with not having a lift gate with Amazon relay, it is possible. You don't need the lift gate when you go to the Amazon facility. You don't need the lift gate. Um, Once you get to the drop off location, we did have our first run with Amazon relay. We did need our lift gate. We didn't have a pallet jack, so we had to push everything off to the lift gate and then drop the lift gate and then push everything off to the site. But we did see a guy, he was in a budget truck and he didn't have a lift gate. And they didn't have they only had one space for the dock, and we was at the dock. So he was able to pull his pallet jack down the ramp that was on his budget truck, and he pulled his pallets out. But then he broke down his pallets because he didn't have a way to getting it up on the dock. So he had to break it down and actually put the packages up there himself. Then they came out and moved the packages and took them inside. Um, I mean, that was just the experience that we had as far as the lift gate goes. And then there was another question that was asked about the Amazon relay that I was going to get to in this video. Do y'all remember, team?
I can't remember. I know it was about the 16, but I have to think on it. I don't remember.
Okay. I don't remember what the other question was. Oh, they asked, could you grow $600 a day with Amazon relay? No, not saying you can't, but I mean, we found one load on there that paid 600. I think it was $632 for that load that we had to. I think it was it was the one that and it was only the one drop. The load that we made actually $600 on was actually one drop. Now I haven't mastered the Amazon relay. I mean, there are some people who say that you can do multiple loads today, but like I say, most of the Amazon relay loads was done at night. You may be picking up at 11, dropping out before 7 o'clock. And we didn't see anything that was picking up before 7 o'clock that morning, AM, 7 o'clock AM. Everything was being picked up that night between midnight, from 11 o'clock to midnight, and you would be dropping off. Everything would be dropped off. Your end route, I mean, your end location would end you about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. And we did find um a couple of loads. Me and Nico found a couple of loads in Morrisville, North Carolina, that was picking up at 2 o'clock p.m. in the evening. That was the first time I had seen that since I started Amazon Relay. It was picking up at 2 o'clock, and your last drop off location. Your last drop off would have been like 5 o'clock that afternoon. With that, it was only paying $1.61 a mile. Um, but the way we calculated, if we was able to drop off and then pick up another route that night at the 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock routes that they do, it was possible. But other than that, um, I don't think I don't think it's possible, but I'm not sure. Um, but back to the 16-foot box truck. Um, do you want to speak on it, Nico?
Um, I want to just say, like, don't count yourself out if you have to get if you get stuck with a 16-foot box truck. And when we first started, what we made when we first started, we would have known if we would have knew what we know now, things would have, you know what I'm saying? It would have been a lot different, and probably would
Yeah,
have made more than that 21,000 that month. But we was just starting off. We didn't know. Even that first load that she had to dispatch, she didn't know how to dispatch and nothing like that. So everything was the first time.
yeah, most definitely. I definitely agree. If you have to go with the 16-foot box truck, don't think that the money can't be made. Don't think that you're not gonna be able to get many loads with it. It's still possible. Most it's definitely possible. Um, and again, like she said, a lot of things. If we would have knew what we know now, then we probably would have grossed a whole lot more.
Hmm.
Um, and then also, do you want to speak on as far as the lift gate? And then, oh yeah, and then a lot of times you're not going to be dock high in a 16-foot box truck. A lot of the loads was asking for us to be dock high. We still took those loads, and then once we got there, they was able to put the pallet on the truck, and we had to use the pallet jack to move it from the edge and place it at the back. And also, when we got ready to unload, it was the same process. We had to use the pallet jack to push it to the edge of the truck, and they was able to take the pallet off that way. Um,
Because the forklift can't go in the 16-foot box truck. So
yeah, the
you're
forklift
gonna have to
definitely.
do a little labor.
Yeah. One time we went to Lay's. We went to Lay's distribution center, and they
That
was
was
able to get
okay.
the walkie rider in there, and he loaded everything with the walkie rider. But when we went to unload, it was still the same process. We had to use the pallet jack to actually, and then with the lift gate on the 16 inch, they are very small. It's not,
But
you can't even get a pallet on the one that we had anyway, and
the
you can't get
pallet,
a pallet on there.
yeah, the pallet jack and the pallet ain't gonna go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um So that was another thing that we had with the 16-foot box truck. But you're definitely able to get loads with that truck. Like I said, you got to keep in mind the dimensions. Make sure you have the dimensions of your truck. Make sure when you calling these brokers, you getting dimensions of the product. Because even though it may say one pallet, that one pallet could be either too long or it could be too high. Um, so you definitely want to get the dimensions.
And the pod loads, don't even look at them if you're in a 16-foot box truck.
Which loads?
The pods,
The U-Haul?
the pods.
What's the pod loads?
Like when they be trying to put them big old crate looking things in the trunk,
Yeah, the U-Haul. Yeah. The U-boxes.
U boxes.
Um,
That's what they are. My bad.
Okay.
yeah, you definitely, you definitely can't get the U-boxes.
Right.
Uh, and a lot of loads that was coming out the load board it was U-boxes. I don't know if it was just around that time. Um, but yeah, and if you're gonna be working in a 16-foot box truck, I would definitely recommend um to do partials. I mean, of course, you're not gonna do a full truckload, but when I say partials, I mean if you do multiple partials, like I say, depending on your dimensions, if you do multiple partials, then you definitely can see a lot of income with that. Um, but yeah, that's basically it with a 16-foot box truck. I mean, it is worth it.
Yeah.
I said we made more money with the 16-foot box truck than with the 26-foot box truck, to be honest. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I would feel like we did.
It was just getting a start though.
Yeah,
When we were calling around trying to get loads for the this from dispatch, even dispatchers, or getting loads off the dock board or whatever. When you say 16 feet truck, it's like they be like, oh no, we don't have that. Oh no, we don't have that. And it kind
Yeah.
of got discouraging at a time because it was like nobody didn't want to really work or no one had any loads for the 16 feet. But I mean, we stuck it out. Once y'all did move, um, it got easier and easier, and we were able to find some a lot of loads within the 16 feet. So
Yeah,
it
it was that time where they're like, after our authority had got some age on it. It was like at first they was asking, what size truck are you in? And it was like 16 football truck. Oh no, it's not gonna fit on that. But after our authority got some age on it, they didn't ask us. We just asked what was the dimensions. They told us dimensions, and we'll be like, yeah, we'll take it, that type of thing. But at first, when it was new, it was like, what size truck are you in? Once you said that 16-foot box truck, oh no, we ain't
it was
we
it, and
they
nobody
start looking
I ain't
at you
got
crazy.
nothing.
yeah,
Like, what you
with
doing
these
in that little
brokers.
ass truck? Oh, excuse me.
Right.
Right. With these brokers, you got to control the call. You gonna have to control the call, because if not, they're gonna take over the call, and they gonna basically tell you what they want to tell you, type thing, to the point where you ain't gonna be able to. Some of them did have nasty attitudes. But another thing that what we did was, if they was to ask us what size truck we was in, and we said 16-foot box truck, they'll say, no, we don't have anything for that truck. So we continue to call them the brokers every day. We remember the man name. We remember it was Josh. You remember that, Nico?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was one guy. It was a couple of guys. Not even just with the 16-foot box truck. Even when we got the other truck, we remember these people's name. We told them to keep us in mind, and they would call us for loads.
Yeah.
So at first, when we first got in the game, a lot of people say, "Oh, you got to build relationships with these brokers." Like, how the very you build relationship with these brokers? But we eventually when we started talking to these brokers, we're just asking them to keep us in mind. I think B had a lady that she communicated with, where she would reach out to her, ask her for loads. Um, Nico had a broker that she communicated with, to the point where she would reach out to them, ask, do they have any loads for us? I also um, spoke with the broker where I would tell him to reach out to us if they ever find a load. They would reach out to us, keep us in mind and reach out to us. And don't ever feel like, as far as the time that they give you, like, they are willing to work with you as far as the time that the load has to be there. Um and it won't hurt you as bad. Like at first we was like, we gotta get this load there on time, we gotta, but after a while it started to dawn on us that long as we communicate with the brokers, um, it's not so bad as far as trying to be there on that time frame.
Well, I want to say this about the 16-foot box truck. And when you're dealing with a broker, like you were saying, like you might have to get a cargo van load to put on the 16-foot box truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like get you one of them atlas books there at every truck stop. Learn that map, because if you get in a cargo van load, 9 times out of 10 you ain't got nothing but 2 pallets, 2 or 3 pallets on there. You still good as far as your weight and being able to put something else on there. If you learn how to do that map, you could be looking for loads before you get there. When the sun come up, where you can go pick something up, to where you could put maybe 2 or 3 of those loads on there. When you're dealing with a broker,
Yeah. And with the loads, with the 16-foot box truck that we had, it was the amount that we can carry was up to 6 to 500. Um, so we tried to make sure that each run that we had that We was right there at that cap where we was at the 6,500 cap where we had it was full. The truck was full basically. Um, every truck is not like that when we research. Because we had to actually dig and see what was the amount that we can actually carry. Because at first we were saying 4,000, but we noticed that Ryder, Penske, Budget, Enterprise, they all have those. The amount is different on each truck. So the truck that we had, it could carry up to 6,500 on it. So every truck is gonna be different. So you just have to. I think it's listed on the door of your truck of what you can carry on that truck.
Details.
Yeah.
Gotta pay attention to details.
Y'all have any other information y'all want to share about the 16-foot box truck?
Um, nah, I mean, it's some other stuff, but I think we're gonna do that one in the next one.
Yeah, it will be a part two. For the 16-foot box truck, we will be doing a part two, which would be a lot of information. If you're trying to, or if you don't have a choice but to get a 16-foot box truck, it's gonna be very informational. So make sure you guys tune in. We do try to do a live every night at about 9, 10 o'clock. We got a lot of information to provide. We just don't want to pile it up on you, so we will be doing it in series. So the next live video will be part two of the 16-foot box truck. Um, and
And
we'll
have
also go over. We're just gonna be giving out a lot of information in these videos. So make sure y'all try to tune in, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Um, yeah, just support. Anything else, crew?
nah,
Definitely, y'all. As we said, we've learned a lot of stuff. We went through a lot of experience. It was a learning experience for all of us. We was new in the game. We found out some good tips. We found out ways to do this, ways to do that, what was good for us, which may not work out for everybody, but it was different things that we did learn within the whole process. So we just don't want, we do want to share the information of the experience that we have, and the things that we did learn along the way. So definitely want y'all to tune in. As she stated, we're gonna try to do it about 9, 10 o'clock, um, for part two. So definitely you don't want to miss our next part two for the 16 box truck, because we do want to go more into details on when we first hit the road, things that we experienced, things that we found out, different tips within that 16 foot, because it can be a little hectic. Again, we did get a little discouraged, but we do want to share the experience with y'all, and let y'all know some of the things that we did learn along the way. So make sure y'all do hit the like button, subscribe. Definitely keep in touch with us, because we'll be live again around 9 or 10 o'clock.
I want to say like on the next one we're gonna talk about the apps too, like how to use that 16-foot box truck if you get stuck, and
Yeah,
we're gonna speak on the time when I did get stuck and didn't know about the apps. So like I say, it's a lot of stuff we know now that we didn't know then. So make
yeah.
sure
So take notes, because she was one of the ones that was stuck with that 16 foot foot
all the
box
way.
truck all the way
I'm
across the world,
telling
and
you,
she worked her
real.
way all the way through. She sat
So,
for a day or two, but she learned so much within it. So she's definitely the one that's gonna be able to put you in the game and let you know the things that she did experience and how she worked around it. Because again, she was the one that was stuck across the world and got back and still was making money and making her way back in. So you definitely want to catch the next part too for that.
right.
Right. And when we say stuck, we're not saying like her truck was stuck in a ditch or anything. So
Right,
if you
right.
don't know the terms of truck driving, when we say stuck, we mean she was in a dead area. It was no loads coming out of that area. Not for the 16-foot box truck. So when we
No,
say stuck, that means she didn't have any loads coming out. Um, so yeah, y'all definitely want to catch that. It will be some informational stuff, some jewels that's dropped. So make sure y'all tune in for that live. We did go live late tonight. Um, but we will
man,
try to do better and get in early. So that y'all can tune in and start asking some questions. Letting us know what y'all think. If y'all ever experienced it before, we do want to get some outlook on that as well. And we also want to get some outlook on if we could have did anything better. If y'all can give us some tips on that as well. But yeah,
constructive criticism. Constructive though.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all definitely want to keep in on this channel. We got some stuff to drop. We got some stuff to drop. We got some stuff to tell you guys. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump up off this. Make sure you put your questions down in the comment section. We will try to answer those questions. Um, we will message back or we will answer it on our next live. So you don't want to miss that as well. But thank you so much for tuning in to All Money in Box Trucking Gang. And we out.
Word. Have a good one.
Good night, y'all.